All right, so this just came up a few minutes ago in which one of my long-term viewers asked me to do this. Here's a triumphant saying to put in Susie's AI. The old bartering mantra, cash, grass, or rear end. I'd love to see what it does with that base humanity. I put that in there and I got this in return, and it looks like the Chat GPT doesn't like the idea of giving up anything. I asked it to generate a story behind that, and it said that when a female hitchhiker gets into the truck to get a ride, that she's going to sing along to the radio, share snacks, or tell stories in order to pay for her ride. And I thought, boy, that chat GPT sure is funny. And with that, I asked it to generate 3 talking points for this topic. This is going to be a small video because I don't think that I can really stretch it out. But last night I was talking to someone very late into the night while I was heavily intoxicated. That's the thing you need to take away from this. And we were talking, and she was showing me about getting her nails done, and I thought of this. So, this is my first talking point. In most situations, we're often expected to give something in return for any favor, big or small. So, as we were talking, somehow we got on the topic of feet, right? Of course, it always comes down to feet on this channel. And so she went and got she got a manicure, looked great. And then she's like, well, my toes are already painted. But if you want to see those, millennial stamp, if you want to see my feet pictures, you are going to have to do a favor for me. It's going to be big or small, but ideal in cash money. And I thought, oh my God, is this really happening? Because again, my ultra ego with the severely intoxicated millennial steam thought that we could do this for free, right? But no, there are websites entirely dedicated to this transaction between men and women in order to display your feet. And that was what we came down to. So the price we settled on was it was very fair. And I'm not going to say what that price was, but let's put it this way. I'm not going to do that. Like, I just laughed last night and I was just like, is this really happening? In is this, unspoken rule that nobody rides for free is a broader life lesson. So even though I I thought I was kind of, making a joke, the weird part is that shortly after I passed out, and I woke up in a dream in which, and this is the really, really strange part. This is another reason why I'm making this video. I woke up in the dream, and there was a iguana in my bed, and I was laying on top of the iguana, and I could feel like its heart beating inside of its body. But next to the iguana, there she was. And she was in her birthday suit. And I'm like, what a strange dream. So then she told me to wake up, and it was happening in real time. So the time on the clock was about the same time as it was last night. And I remember I walked out to the parking lot with her. Somehow her friends were already there, and she jumped in a car and she left. Like, a part of my brain knew that this was a tease. And I don't know what the iguana represented, but it was huge. It was like 3 feet long, and it was just laying there. And somehow she was hidden behind, like underneath the side of me. So that dream just kind of took me aback. And again, one of the main reasons I'm doing this is because this all comes together. Is that the barter system that nobody rides for free is truly something that our society's embraced because of all of the different websites that are dedicated to women using their lady parts in order to generate an income. Like there's been a couple of girls that I have seen that have gone from Tumblr to fans site, the fan site, and she makes great money. And she was struggling. I remember she was selling every conceivable thing on Tumblr, trying to get guys to give her money because she was broke. Like she was really broke 10 years ago. And right now with the fans page, she is doing amazing. And she's doing all kinds of stuff that I never thought a girl like her would do for cash money. Anyhow, moving on to talking point number two. Even in casual favors often come with subtle expectations or unspoken terms. In the hitchhiker story, he acknowledges with humor and offering a lighthearted reminder that all generosity is as pure as it seems. That is not true. So every time that we do something on the internet with another person, another consenting adult, there's always that implied sense that they're going to get something out of it. They're going to get money, they're going to get gifts, they're going to get something out of it. And if you go into this situation with a happy go lucky, pure as it seems sort of attitude, you're going to be uh, disappointed with what the expectations are. And for most women, they realize this very, very quickly that the expectation is there. And even though you may think that, oh, you know what, it's not going to happen. And then, she has the audacity to look over. It's like, oh, look, Mr. Happy's at attention. And she's like, what's that for? And you're like, I don't know. I mean, I just got some feet pictures and suddenly, oh, Lord, how did that happen? Oh, you're so naughty. Go back to your other state of being. But it's there. Like, you're just like looking at it. She's looking at you, and you're like, well, I mean, this is kind of an awkward situation. But again, it comes down to nobody rides for free. And this interaction that happens with people, it kind of makes you. I mean, if I was a woman, I would be very jaded and I would be very, very concerned and I would be always at the ready that something like this was about to happen. Mr. Happy doesn't pop up because he's feeling good. He's feeling feisty and angry. And it's like I used to have a neighbor. Oh God, this was like 20 years ago. She was like this 400-pound woman that lived in the apartment next to me. And, just to be nice, young millennials team used to go over in the evenings, had nothing to do. I was extremely poor at the time. And I'd go over, and then there'd be these like innuendos towards like, you could just, do something. I could do something to you. And I thought to myself, like, my roommate at the time, he's like, you keep going over there. She's going to think that you like her. And I'm like, she's 400 pounds. She can't even move. Like, no one visited her. And the apartment smelled like, it was a very small apartment. And it smelled like a very large person who couldn't shower lived in there. But again, it was still better than being in my own apartment with a roommate that I couldn't stand and eventually had to move out. But even in that situation, she's just like, I could. And you're like, oh no. All right, talking point number three. The hitchhikers redefines payment in her own way. Um, so she adds a modern spin, suggesting that value isn't only monetary. Sometimes a good story or shared laugh can be just as valuable, especially on the open road. Don't fool yourself, ladies. The monetary value of the thing of Susie Rottencrotch is very high, especially out there where people are strapped for cash. It wouldn't surprise me if we went back to a barter system where Susie Rottencrotch had to turn to the oldest profession just in order to supplement her 40-hour-a-week job. Because this is something that happens, having conversations about feet in the middle of the night isn't exactly a way of dealing with your financial problems. Play, okay, no, that's not. Um, where am I going? Like I'm all over this particular comment because I just don't know how exactly to interpret what I want to say without it sounding like a total disaster. So we came to the conclusion that payment needed to be made, and you're just like, how did we get here? At the end of that conversation, I remember that I stopped messaging her as soon as she said the price tag of these feet pictures. And I thought, you know what? She's being 100% serious. She thinks that what she has monetary value, and she's going to convince me of that. Just like every other Susie Rottencrotch behind the Taco Bell has to convince you of the value of the taco. But you, as a man, can also decide, you know what? I am not going to do that because there are literally millions of pictures of the same thing on the internet. In fact, I had one person who said to me, and this was about 6 weeks ago, she's like, I told her, it's like, why would I even give you a penny for a picture? And she wrote me back because it's me. And I'm like, no. Again, Susie Rottencrotch convincing you that her feet pictures have value. I don't even know where to begin because again it comes down to that terrible saying, ass wait, was it ass gas or grass? And then you add that to her belief that this has value. So you're looking at her like she's insane, and she's looking at you like you're insane because you don't see the value of paying money for feet pictures. Anyhow, this video is supposed to be humorous. It was supposed to be about that comment. Unfortunately, with last night's back and forth uh, negotiations in the middle of the night with a drunken millennial steam, they didn't go over well. Anyhow, today I did find out that I am probably not going to be at my current job for very much longer. In fact, my boss told Gen Z that he would be keeping his job and that I would not.